Alright guys, this is the collection of airliners and other aircraft as of January 2025. Melissa started this collection in basically January of 2024, so this is her first year of collecting, and it's right in front of the live stream of Midway Airport, which is the hub for Southwest, which was why she started collecting these in the first place. And we appreciate you watching. This is a die-cast metal from Darien, the L1049 Super Constellation from the defunct Eastern Airlines. This is a metal model that comes this way. It's really heavy. It's got actual landing gear on it that is correct, and all the propellers spin. So it's a really nice model. So this kit is a plastic kit. It's a Boeing 757-200 with the Northwest livery on it. I used to fly Northwest. Northwest was a great airline. They would give you a big basket with a bottle of wine and food in it, even if you were just in business class. Continental. This is the now defunct Continental Airlines, and this is a Boeing 757-300. So if you look at the tail, I believe United still uses the tail, because I think United bought Continental but uses their tail colors. Again, a plastic model kit, easy to put together, and it comes pre-painted. Alright guys, this is a Delta Shuttle, which is the 727-200 by Boeing, and you notice there's 3 engines in the tail. They don't really use rear-engined airlines anymore, the bigger airliners. They're all small business type jets or regional jets, but full-size airliners, they don't have any that are rear-mounted engines anymore. But I think it's one of the sexiest looking airplanes, the 727, and this is a 727-200 Delta Shuttle. It is a plastic model kit, comes in this box, very easy to put together. Alright, this is a TWA Boeing 727-200. Even though TWA is no longer with us, and they were really known, unfortunately, for hijackings back in the 1970s and 80s. They were around forever and ever and ever, like Pan Am was, and then they just disappeared when the airline started conglomerating and everything. But this is again a 727-200 from Boeing, and again it has the tri-engines in the back, one of the sexiest airplanes ever made, the Boeing 727-200 with TWA. This is a Western DC-10 model, plastic model, came in this box. Again, pre-painted, pre-decaled, very cool kit, easy to put together. If you're somebody who likes airliners or aircraft models, I really highly suggest you get some of these smaller kits. It's a I believe 1/200 scale. DC-10s, well, they went out of style when engines started falling off, and they had a couple crashes back in the 80s. They were used successfully by the Air Force as in-flight refueling aircraft really up until 2023, I believe, when they were replaced. But they were out of service. Western was a airline, it was more a regional airline for the Western United States, but they also did, and I remember this because I flew in one once, they would also do military flights. So they would take like the squadron personnel or Navy personnel or Army personnel over to the Middle East, especially during the first Gulf War. Alright guys, this is a B-52 1/144th scale. It has the X-15 fighter, X-15 advanced NASA prototype on its wing. This is a pretty famous B-52. It still flies to this day, and it had a notch cut out of the wing so that the tail of the F-15 for testing could go up there and there's your F-15 right there. So I built this. This was a full kit. I think Hasegawa, could be wrong, maybe Fujimi, Revell, I'm not sure who it was, but I built this kit to go along with the Airline collection that is in the house that Melissa has. All right, everybody, so this is the Southwest Airlines silver anniversary Boeing 737-300. Again, this is a model kit, plastic, came in this box, and basically Southwest only flies 737s, various 300s, and I think 200s and 100s, but pretty much all 737s. So I could be wrong on that, probably am. So, but this is a plastic kit. Now, a lot of the 737 kits that are in Melissa's collection are metal. They're not kits, they were metal aircraft. But this is a plastic kit, and I think it's pretty cool, and I apologize for the dogs barking outside. They're having a fun day. The Southwest Airlines Triple Crown Boeing 737-300. One of the best reasons to collect Southwest Airlines 737s is all the different livery or paint jobs or logos or whatever you want to call that is on the different jets. So this is a Triple Crown Boeing 737-300, and this is a plastic kit. Again, comes in these boxes. You put them together. They're pre-painted, pre-decaled, but they're really fun if you want to do a nice collection. All right, so these two are the Concorde. These are die-cast collectibles. They're in the Airliner collection. And this is the British Airways version. That's the Air France version. They were the only two airlines to fly the Concordes until the Concorde had two major accidents and was withdrawn. This was the only successful supersonic transports, which they were supersonic. There was a Russian Tupolev supersonic airliner, never really did much. It also had an accident and it was scrapped pretty quickly, but these two were successful for many, many years, and it used to be a big deal to be on these. And in fact, during the Live Aid concert, which was both in, it started over in England, in London, to raise money back in the 80s, I believe it was 85. Phil Collins from Genesis played in London, got on a Concorde, flew all the way back over here to the US, to Philadelphia, and then played that night in Philadelphia. He was the only person to do that, so it was very cool. All right, this is another of the die-cast collectibles. This is a 787 die-cast collectible. So this is with the prototype Boeing 787 paint job on it. This here is another die-cast in-flight model. This is the Boeing 747 with the Boeing 747 paint scheme on it that would have been for the testing Boeing 747 prototypes. All right, so this is a 747. This again is another die-cast, and this is Virgin Atlantic die-cast 747. And I love Virgin Atlantic. I'll tell you right now, if I go across, I've gone across to England in Virgin, and I've gone across on British Airways. And I will tell you right now, a Virgin Atlantic flight is way better. All right, guys, so this is Air Force One, probably the most recognized aircraft in the world, maybe next to the Blue Angels, but probably even more than the Blue Angels. So this is the 747. This is not the 707 version. And so this is a metal model, die-cast model. And the thing I like about this one is because it's an in-flight model, they have a couple of these which they're selling online that are actually 737s, which are not United States of America. They're not Air Force One. They're just 737s that are used by the State Department. But this is Air Force One. All right, guys, this is Thai Airlines. This is a Airbus A320. It's got some really nice livery on it. And so 2 engines, Airbus A320. All right, this is a Malaysia Airlines A380. Now, at this scale, how do you know it's not a 747 or something else? A380s are the only ones that if you look, there's double-decker windows. So they have a double-decker windows. So A380 Malaysia Airlines, really nice looking airplane. All right, this is a FedEx A380 freight version. Okay, how do we know it's an A380 freight version? 4 engines, number 1. Number 2, it's got a set of windows up here, and it's a freight, so there's no other windows here. Plus on the box it said A380. But it doesn't have that 747 hump where it has the big nose that, like a 747, the passenger compartment goes under the cockpit all the way to the nose. And that doesn't happen with the Airbus A380. There you go. All right, guys, this is a UPS worldwide service. This is the L1011. So there's DC-10s and there's L1011s. This is the L1011 used by UPS. This is a die-cast, and it's a pretty nice little airplane. Now this one is a die-cast of UPS's Airbus 380. Again, you can tell it's a 380 because there's windows up behind the front of the nose, and it doesn't have that bulge that a 747 would have. This again is another die cast. So that is the UPS. Now this one is the Pan Am 747. And this again is a small die cast. It's a 1/400 scale. And the way you could tell that this is supposed to be a 747 is if you look at the windows, they go below the windows for the cockpit. So 747s have windows that go below the cockpit. The Airbus 380 doesn't have windows that go below the cockpit. All right, guys, this is an Airbus die cast. Again, Airbus A320. This is Spirit Airlines. All right, this is an Airbus A320 from Sun Country. This is a die cast from Sun Country, and it's an Airbus A320. This is an Airbus from Frontier Airlines. It's an A320 Airbus. That's what they fly. Frontier flies A320. This is an Airbus A320 from Allegiant Airlines. So Allegiant's a small carrier. I've flown on them many times, from Florida all over the place. They're actually a decent little airline. This is an Airbus A320 with JetBlue livery on it. So everybody knows JetBlue. Some in a good way, some in a bad way, but regardless. So this is a JetBlue die-cast A320. All right, this is a 737 with the old school Delta paint on it. So this is a die-cast 737 from Delta wearing their old school Delta. Okay, this is an Alaska Airlines 737, and this is the one with Orca on it. This is a die-cast, and one of the neat things about this particular 737 from Alaska Airlines is the doors are still on it, because the real ones tend to drop them off every now and again. Here is an American Airlines with the new American Airlines tail colors on it. And this is a 737 as well from American Airlines. This is a die cast. I believe it is a 200 scale. 200 scale, I believe. 200 scale, 220. This is United's new livery on it. Now, if you remember, if you look at the tail here, what does that look like? It looks like the Continental tail colors. So the tail colors on the United jets look like Continental Airlines, which they absorbed. So this is a 737 from United. All right, we are moving towards our Southwest collection. So these are airlines. Now all these paint jobs are real. These aren't just made for die cast. These are actual paint jobs. So this is your standard Southwest. Let's turn a little bit and take a look. This is your Southwest 737. That's what they fly. That's usually all they fly. So we have Southwest 737. This is what your basic Southwest scheme will be. This is the pink Southwest. So it's the standard Southwest colors, except instead of blue, it's pink. All right, everybody. So this is a really nice paint scheme. And believe it or not, it's on a real airplane. It's called MWA-1, celebrating Hawaii. So as you can see, this is the paint scheme for MWA-1, which is a real aircraft, 737 with Southwest. This one is also a real aircraft, and that flies with Southwest. It's a 737, and this is known as Freedom 1, and obviously why. Freedom 1, it's got the stars and bars, as just like the flag. All right, guys, this is Illinois 1 from Southwest Airlines, and if you want to see any of these, you can always go and check out a channel that shows Midway Airport on YouTube. They always have a live cam there, and that's one of the Southwest hubs, and you can always see a lot of these planes. So this is Illinois 1, which is a pretty cool real aircraft. And this one that has the big swan on it, it says Justice Confidence on it. Union Justice Confidence is Louisiana 1. And actually, I think that's a pelican, because I think the state bird for Louisiana is a pelican. So that may be a pelican. Let me take a look here. Yeah, it's a pelican. I thought it was a swan at first, but it's a pelican. So you might see this landing at Midway Airport anytime you watch the live channel. All right, everybody. So this is Lone Star 1, celebrating the state of Texas. This is an actual aircraft, an actual 737 from Southwest. So you can see this at airports all around the country, and it's celebrating Texas with Lone Star 1. It's called Lone Star 1 because you got one Lone Star. All right, we got Tennessee 1 here. So this is another 737 from Southwest. This is Tennessee 1. Now, why it's not orange like the University of Tennessee, I don't know. But it's red with 3 stars. This is a real plane that flies all around the country, and it's known as Tennessee 1. A die-cast of New Mexico 1, a real aircraft that flies with Southwest. It's a 737, and you can see this at many of the airports around the country. All right, guys, this one is Nevada 1, and this again is another Southwest 737 that you can find flying the skies around the United States. So it's Nevada 1, why it doesn't have a whole bunch of change and dropping money all over the place, since that's what most people do in Nevada. But it doesn't. This is Nevada 1, that's its call sign, and it flies everywhere. It's a real aircraft with Southwest. All right, guys, now this is a strange die cast, and I'm sure somebody didn't realize they made a mistake. So it's a 737 die cast, but the decals on this are for a 747. Obviously, it's not a 747 because it's only got 2 engines. 747s have 4 engines, but it has all the 747 decals on it. So the makers of this one made a mistake, but it's the One World British Airways. It should be a 747 according to decals, windows, and everything else, but it only has 2 engines. So this is a mistake. This one is a mistake. So don't know if that makes it worth a lot more money or a lot less money. Either way, not sure, but it's a die cast. This one is a 747-8 from Lokalani Airlines. Now this is a Matchbox Skybuster. It's just pretty neat. I don't know where I picked it up at, but it says it's a Boeing 747-8 from Lokalani Airlines. And this is a way smaller scale than the other aircraft. Alright guys, we do have a couple military die-cast. So these are a couple of military die-cast that have been around in the collection for many years. This could be VF-84 F-14, or it could be a VF-101 F-14. Reason being is because it has the skull and crossbones on the tail, and VF-84 used it before they were dismantled, whatever, and then VF-101 took them. So that's the F-14 Tomcat. Here is a Navy VF-103 F-4 Phantom. And so this is a die cast as well. I've had it probably for 10, 12 years, maybe 15 years. I don't know when. It's just been sitting in the Hot Wheels collection, and we moved it over to the Airliner collection. Okay, this is the F-18C that was part of the Top Gun Maverick collection that came out a couple years ago. And I believe it's Matchbox, but it's a Top Gun Maverick F-18C diecast. Hawk. Alright guys, this is a Black Hawk, U.S. Army Black Hawk diecast helicopter. I believe it's 1/44th scale. It might be 1/200th, I'm not sure, but I believe it's 1/44th scale diecast. Alright guys, this is a U.S. Army Apache diecast helicopter, and I do not know where I got this, but had it for many years. But it's an Apache diecast helicopter from the U.S. Army. So this is a set of Elvis's jet, the Lisa Marie, which I believe was actually a DC-10, but in here they're using a 737. And then his private jet, which he had a couple of them, which was a Jetstar. So these are Elvis's private jet. You can get this at it's a Matchbox Collectibles from the Elvis Presley collection. Alright guys, this is a B-17 model. It was 11 pieces. You can get this over at Hobby Lobby. And it is a put together pre-painted model. And there was a first timer. Melissa was the first timer to put this together. It took about 10 minutes. And it turns into a really nice model. Her uncle actually was a ball turret gunner down here at the bottom. And it's a nice display model of a B-17. Stay tuned for putting more of these up. These are really easy. They're inexpensive. If you like to build models, there's plastic ones. If you like to just collect, there are die casts. And then there are die casts that are put together. So you have all different kinds of models. If you're into airliners or just into traveling, or you just want something fun to collect, there are tons and tons of these and a bunch of different makers. And so we'll keep in touch and we'll show you more later. Thank you.